hockey camp.
Yeah, one of my clients from Byron Center called me and said, wow. What are you doing?
All the fellas are busy. Makes you really wonder who's on the market, doesn't it?
Uh-huh. Well, at 1100, you know where it is.
It went over 1100.
That's a lot of people.
Chicken tacos. Going for another guy here on 44. In the yellow house. Just before you get to the old Warner's trucking. He moved his business to Greenville. I built 15 shelves for his factory now. Fiscal Township went around and put up a pole barn bidding up for his business out there. After he bought extra property.
Why didn't he just get the pole barn?
That probably was cheaper. Plus Greenville probably did a better deal because they've given all other businesses. So they give him some flags and say, here, take patty cake out there. Just a bird was upset because he knew his goal was 4 feet. He was 2 aspect ones, and one field goal. And that was the field goal in the entire career. sign.
Church better be wired.
Like the ball. If you're a super big deal, how come the rest of them know it's good as 10 years? I waited 45 minutes. So I'm create some company to do the same thing.
Yes.
Evening, everybody. Thank you for coming to the January 26, 2015 special city council meeting. Would you please stand for the invocation, followed by the resolution. Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather here tonight, we ask that you allow us to do the bidding as your will for this city, Lord. We ask that you watch over us and guide us. Give us direction and just do it in a pleasing way to you. We ask that you just surround this community, Lord, and just bring it within itself to be all one instead of being, I guess you would say, the difference between the good, the bad, the evil. However, we just ask, Lord, that you come around us, that we make this a city that is enjoyable and inviting to all the outside surrounding areas to come to us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Could you roll call, please?
Councilmember Cooper?
Here.
Councilmember Shai?
Here.
Councilmember Lowell?
Here.
Mayor Jefferson?
Here.
Councilmember Jones?
All present. Next, I'd ask for approval of the agenda.
So moved. Support.
Call for the vote, please.
Mr. Shai?
Yes.
Mr. Lowell?
Yes.
Mr. Gunderson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones? Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Approval agenda is presented, passed 5-0. Next, we'll move into public comment. Anybody wishing to comment on any agenda item, please step to the podium, name and address if you would for the record, please. You will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Apologize for leaving my coat on as I come up here, but I still haven't thawed out yet. Captain Henry, 806 Wildlife Trail. There's just a few sentences that my husband wanted to share with you as he is currently in a band meeting at the middle school with our 8th grader. So this right now is his thoughts. MML should absolutely not be our first and only place to look for the next interim or full-time manager. Mullendore, with an easily discoverable and at best problematic work history, was recommended by MML. Clearly, they have no interest to disclose their members' backgrounds to the hiring party, as Meg was a member of MML. Therefore, their priority is not with the best interests of Belding in mind. Although it is the responsibility of the council to do their own research, we as the people will also do ours, to ensure that that mistake will not happen again. It is the opinion of many in this community that we should have a Belding citizen manage our town. I hope that we have many applicants from within this town that know the people of this town and that always have the best interests of Belding and its people in mind. I too wanted to say something short about the agenda items tonight. And obviously, public comment being where it is, I don't know where any of you stand on the particular issue of using MML. So without knowing that, I just want to remind you that at least a couple, if not several, city council meetings, obviously not Mr. Cooper because he wasn't on the council, and I believe, Mr. Lallow, you were afraid as well because you hadn't been in the hiring process. But all the remaining members of council had commented, at least to a degree of frustration, if not more, with MML and the procedures they used or did not use when you selected them to help you in hiring in 2013. To illustrate that, I just want to point you to one of these times, which is on March 18th. And in those minutes, Councilmember Jones stated that Dan Blunt missed him because Dan had been identifying the people that had voted on whether to hire Meg. As Tom Jones was on the board when they hired Meg. They hired MML to do the interviews. He thought they would do any police searches. His understanding was that they did at that time, but it has come to light that they did not do the job he thought they were being paid for. I also want to point out Mayor Gunderson's statements that evening that MML actually hired another firm to do the research on her, on Wallendorf, and that, quote, he, Mr. Mayor, has had concerns about this. So I would just ask you to keep that in mind. Again, if you wanted to refer to that, it's March 18th. I assume you guys all remember that because those were your own statements. And Mr. Lau and Mr. Cooper, I understand that you were not part of that original hiring process, but I would ask you to keep in mind the comments and concerns and questions that have been voiced by other council members, as well as those of the community at how MML goes about their recommendation process. I don't know all that entails, but I do know that Ms. Wallendorf is and or was at least a member of MML. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Deb Keller, Belding, Michigan, 48809. I do have a paragraph in here that pertains to your agenda tonight. It will take me a minute to get there. Hopefully number 3. Mr. Cooper, Mr. Scheid, Mr. Lallow, Mr. Gunderson, Mr. Jones, the citizens studying in this room tonight, and the people on Facebook, and the citizens of Belding. Thank you for letting me speak tonight to what I feel I need to say. For many years, starting in the early 2000s, I was passionately involved with being on boards and committees. I did this due to constantly hearing people grumble about this town since I had moved here. I felt that if you are not trying to do anything to address, fix, or help solve what you're grumbling about, you do not have the right to grumble or badmouth what is going on with the city. My children, as they grew up and moved away, would always say, "Mom, why do you stay in Belding?" My answer was, I love the small town, family-oriented atmosphere. I wanted to show them this is what Belding was about. So I served on boards and committees until late 2012, when my husband became terminally ill and only had a short time to live. It was at this time the town showed my children what it meant about Belding being a family. The support and caring that was shown to us from everyone in Belding was what helped all of my family get through the terrible journey that we were on, and my children came to understand what I meant about Belding. After my husband passed away in October 2013 and I moved out of the city limits, it was at this time that some events took place in the city of Belding that caused a lot of turmoil. I was thankful that I did not live in town and could go to my little quiet place out of town and pretend I did not care what went on with Belding. The past year I've been very disheartened with Belding, its leaders, some of the citizens, and wanted nothing to do with it. The first issue, for lack of a better word, went through the process and was resolved. Time to let it go and move on. Well, this was the second issue. This too has gone through the process and resolved. Time to let it go and move on. I really don't know why I'm here speaking tonight. I keep trying to tell myself, let it go, you don't want to be involved. But my heart and soul have been very heavy with what has taken place. The name calling, the vindictiveness. I'm very pleased how these two issues have been resolved. I feel it was the right thing on both, but the results were what they are. When I was on the planning commission, there were things we voted on that would affect the citizens for the better or not. I would vote for what I felt was right for all the citizens. I would be very irritated that a decision would affect me personally that I was not fond of, but this was not why I was on these boards. So I ask you, more I plead with you, if you are involved in the city council, that you vote for what is right for all the citizens. That you are here for the better of all who live here. Although they say this is what politics is for your own agenda. To the citizens, I plead with you to not name call, be vindictive, or personally attack, but to work with these boards for the better of all. Again, why do I care? I really don't know. I believe it is due to the fact that I would like to be proud and enjoy the town I call home. I've not been either in the last year. What are our children learning from all of this? They are not dumb. They hear and see us adults in our words and actions. Are we showing them it's okay to be a bully, to name call? If so, that is very sad. I thank you all for letting this little old curly lady say what has been on her heart. I could sing the song from Frozen, Let It Go, to add some humor, but I think that would be more torture. You are here tonight to decide how to find a city manager that will be good for Belding. I wish you luck on the process. Do you use a company that does this and helps you with the process? Or do you, as a council, try to hire someone on your own? Please look at this carefully and weigh it carefully on what route to take. If you can work together peacefully and save money, or if for the better of everyone in Belding, use an outside source. I keep you in my thoughts and prayers as you move on in finding the right fit, the right person to be our city manager. But please, let all of us let it go and move on to a better Belding. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Gary Knowlton and I live at 840 Morton Avenue here in Belding. I guess I'm going to address my comments to Commissioner, our council member Cooper.
You need to be directed to me.
That's right. At the last meeting on the 20th, council member Cooper made a motion that was to dismiss Manager Rollendor at a time when she was on medical leave. It certainly would have been better if she could have been here to answer any questions that were brought up, but that didn't happen. The second point I'd like to bring is that Council Member Cooper did not bother to place this item of business on the agenda. That is rather disturbing to me as well as to why that was not done. The third point I'd like to make is that Councilmember Cooper gave no public reason, no explanation, no support for the motion for dismissal. One of the positions I have locally here is that I'm on the Planning Commission. We on the Planning Commission make recommendations to the council. I want you to know that those decisions that we make will be based on the zoning law, not personal preference. They are not emotional, they're black and white, they're based on law, and they're based on the standards that are delineated in our law. I think really we have, as a citizen, I would expect the same degree of accountability for decisions made by this body. The fourth point I'd like to make is that Councilmember Cooper has repeatedly questioned Manager Mullendorf's handling of finances, city finances, and yet at its just completed audit, under the leadership of Manager.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are you talking about the agenda items here? We need to stay, these are about agenda items, I'm sorry, but this has to do with an interim city manager.
I understand that.
All right, so you need to stay on course with that, please.
I'll summarize. Although Commissioner Cooper has questioned repeatedly her finances, it could be that motion and its passing will have the opportunity, or perhaps be a very costly move for the city. And I think we deserve better. Thank you.
Joe Mercy, 901 West State. As a person that read what went on with MM, there was 5 people that had an opportunity to ask any question they wanted about anything when the manager was hired. M&M did a very good job. Came in with a group from the state of Michigan and had them sorted down to 5 people. That went down to 2 by these 5 people. These 5 people brought her in. She volunteered to answer any question was asked. She answered Mr. Shai's question, Ron's question, my question, Cooper's, or Jones's question. It came a decision for a vote. They all voted in favor, had no disagreement whatsoever, until Mr. Cooper was fired and the assassination of the manager's character was brought up and continued to this moment. And I'm in favor of MNL looking for a person, and especially not from this town. There's nobody in this town qualified for it. And that's it. Thank you.
Any other citizen comments on agenda items? Seeing none, we will close public comment. Next, we'll move into new business. We have 2 items under new business. Item A is to consider an appointment of an interim city manager. Ask for a motion to support, bring us to the floor.
So moved. Support.
you guys have in your packet, there is a letter from our finance director. As, I guess you would say, default by charter, Becky, our finance director, has become the interim city manager. I'd like to read this, I guess, so it's on the record. January 22nd, 2015. Dear Belding City Council members. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, thank you. I was promoted to finance director position in May of 2014 by Sam Andrews when Sam Andrews retired. I had 8 years of experience working for the city of Belding and had filled the finance director duties from August to November of 2006 when Robin Moorhofer left and Sam Andrews was hired. I understand that it was my job description as finance director to act as city manager in their absence. However, since I only had 8 months experience, in my present position, I do not believe I am qualified to be an interim city manager. I believe you should have someone that in that position that has an educational background and knowledge and has the experience necessary to fill the city manager's position. With budget coming up, I believe all my attention should be spent on this project. The reason for this special meeting that I called was because of this, and also because of the fact is that Becky does not feel that she's qualified to do this. She is, as of right now, and has been since Meg was released from her duty, the interim city manager. I called this meeting because of this. We are here to consider an appointment of an interim city manager. We are not into discussion of who's going to be that city manager. It's strictly the decision tonight to make that decision. There are several ways that we can go in the future, but right now we're having the discussion to only consider the appointment. So, with that being said, Tom, we'll start with you tonight.
Yes, I think we need to pick the interim city manager. To be open, we have one individual from Belding that's put an application in. I think we also need to review some of the interim manager list that MML has and see if there's somebody that might be in there also.
Okay. Thank you. Dennis?
I guess, maybe you guys are a little more familiar with it. I looked through our charter and ordinances. I guess, I don't know, is there a specific provision that we have to follow with Becky being our interim city manager? Is there a way we can get around that, or is this something that we have to follow?
Well, the problem we have is we have too many things on the table right now. We have too many things that need to be worked on. That needs to be someone that can come in with their feet on the ground. They need to know what's going on with the different monies, the different things that we have going on right now. Like we have a lot of construction jobs that aren't closed out, things like that needs to be done. And as Becky stated, that this is something that needs to be, you know, this is more than just managing a company that you are, you know, that you're running in a sense of what I would say is you need the knowledge because of the different things that are going on as far as the governmental process. We need to stay within the charter and do all that.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess is what I was asking is this just the position by default, or is this something that's spelled out in our charter that we don't have a choice?
Well, we have a choice in the charter if we choose to appoint someone else.
That's what I guess I
Yes.
was asking, because it says acting city manager in charter, but the people always keep referring to, well, it has to be the finance director according to the ordinance. So I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
So it can be any personnel within the city or an individual outside.
Correct.
Okay. I just want to clear that up.
Okay.
Becky, thank you for your letter. It took a lot of spunk to write that out there that way and stuff. I believe that we should get an interim city manager in here. And there was, I think, 3 people in there that are retired, and they're just looking to keep their hands into it a little bit. They're not looking for a full-time position. And if we can choose from one of them, it would probably be the best thing for us, so we can concentrate on the ones that are looking for a full-time position, and then not have somebody in here, and then all of a sudden we tell them, "Well, sorry, you're gone, because we're gonna choose this person." I think we should get one of the ones that are retired and put them on this thing. So, that's just my opinion.
Think about it. Okay?
I think time is critical right now. We're in, budget time, and I respect, Becky's letter. I think she was upfront and honest. And I think we'd be putting a lot on her right now if we, have her serve as an interim city manager. It would just be too much for her at this time. But time is critical, and I think we need to put somebody in place. I'm not opposed to MML, but I know there are a lot of other companies out there that do searches. I know they have some feelings about them, but I'm not opposed to them. I know they're gonna be probably our cheapest route to go, as opposed to some other companies, but I think that we have to take that into consideration. There are other companies out there as well.
Thank you. I want to thank Becky also. She had concerns, she came to me about them, and I want to applaud her for doing what she did by doing that. I really truly think she looked at the betterment of the city, knowing that of her qualifications. I do feel we need an interim city manager. There are more out there that we can look at and everything as far as the actual individuals. One thing I would want to make sure that if we had an interim city manager, that whoever ends up being in that position would be allowed to also fill the position of city manager if the qualifications are there, and if that person wanted to. As Mike mentioned, most of these interim city managers are retired city managers that just want to keep their feet wet, keep moving, get their name in there, that they just don't want to be stagnant. And that's what a lot of the names are that were drawn. Green pulled these off of MML's website. They are not endorsing them, however, they are just people that are looking for these jobs to fill in troubled waters, is what we're going through right now. So with that being said, I would consider a motion to consider, appointing an interim city manager to do a search. Oh, correct, I'm sorry. Correct. Excuse me, call for the vote, please. Sorry. I was thinking another way down. Long night.
Okay, so just to clarify, we're voting to consider the appointment of an interim city manager.
To appoint.
We are going, yes, well, the original motion was to consider if Dennis would like to amend that to appoint an interim city manager.
Don't we need to choose one first
Yeah.
before we?
Right. Well, to consider an appointment, but we have to start the process.
Sorry.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
So do we begin the process of?
Appointing an interim city manager.
Yeah.
Are you supporting that, Mr. Shine?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Gunderson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Shy?
Yes.
Item A, new business, pass 5-0. Item B is to consider hiring MML to conduct a search for city manager. Motion is support, bring this to the floor.
So moved.
Support.
Yes. Start with you.
Okay, do we know, is there several other avenues, is there other avenues that we can use with some of you guys that have had experience doing this before, in order to search for candidates for a city manager, other than media?
Yes, sir.
Is it, do you know offhand what those avenues are?
I do not know the exact names, no. I do know that there are other avenues out of there.
Okay, alright.
Well, we know there's headhunters out there.
Yeah.
MML has a pretty good base. I mean, somebody that's good with the internet, which isn't me, could go out there and put something out on some sites that are out there. You know, there's a lot of job hiring sites and stuff, and I'm sure there's ones out there that are for professionals and stuff. So, you know, we could do something like that, and I don't think it's real expensive, I don't know for sure. You know, the MML has a good base, but whether, you know, there's ones in there that we're interested in or not, we need to look at every avenue to get stuff out there as fast as we can to get this process started, so I wouldn't say that, you know, we can consider hiring MML, but I wouldn't think it's the only way that we need to go. We can go on beyond them and see what we can come up with, you know, it's just a thought.
So there are other avenues. I mean, I know there's the ICMA, the International City County Management Association. That's just one I know of. As I said, I'm not opposed to MML. I think it's gonna be our cheapest route to go. If we're gonna look at a cost factor, I think that needs to be a consideration. Some other companies might be a little bit more expensive, so. No, I think either way we go, we're gonna have to be, you know, absolutely thorough. Do our homework, and there's some concerns what happened with MML last time. I wasn't involved with it, but I think we really need to be thorough with ourselves too, so.
Tom?
I do agree with Joe Farstein on MML did a basic good job. They're familiar with most of the candidates are out there. And ultimately, unless you do an MML or the ICMA, somebody like that, you know, I think the last time they got 50 applications, 35 applications, and I don't feel I'm in a position to, you know, look at 35 applications, make a decision. At least they could narrow it down to some. And I also agree with Joe that when I was on school board, the same thing. I think we need to look at somebody from outside this area. I'm not saying I wouldn't support somebody from this area if they were qualified. There may be qualified people, I'm not saying there's not, so don't jump on me about that. My reason for that is they bring outside ideas in, and they have a different perspective of what problems we may have. Some people might call it thinking outside the box, but they would have maybe different experiences. So normally I would lean towards somebody out of the area as a candidate. But I don't have a problem with MML. They did it the last time. And I know what I did wrong in asking questions and not asking some questions of MML. We would also need to look at whether you use a detective service or another investigative to check backgrounds on our finalists, which we didn't do last time. We relied on them to do it. But anyway, I don't have a problem with MML.
Thanks, Tom. I believe the reason that, one reason we need to look at here is we have a 90-day window to do this. I understand we don't need to rush through this, but yet we are into a time crunch. I, along with Tom, agree that those of us that was in this process before know that there's a difference in what we need to look at completely, as Tom would say, outside the box, other than what MML is presenting to us, other than what they have. We can go, now that we know what's going on, we've been through this, enough of us, most of us, that we can see this process. And I agree with Tom that there are things that need to be asked, and there are probably some things that don't need to be asked, but to stay within our legal, scope of our charter and to move this city forward, I do not have an issue. I believe MML would be the right way to go with the database they have. So with that being said, this time I would ask for a vote on this.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Scheid?
Yes.
Mr. Lalo?
Yes.
Item B under new business passed 5-0. This time I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Scheid?
Yes.
Mr. Lalo?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes. Thank you everyone for coming. Meeting adjourned.